The secret of the electric roof. The hidden energy of 1902 that they buried. Look at your roof at noon and feel the vibrant heat emanating from the zinc tiles. If you can see the air shimmering above the hot sheet metal, you are witnessing a colossal waste of pure energy. In 2026, while the world kneels before unpayable electricity bills and power grids waver under the weight of water scarcity, you, through negligence or because you were taught to be just a passive consumer, are letting your energy liberation evaporate into the air, like smoke. They taught you that to have light, you need contracts, meters installed on your wall, and an eternal debt to corporations that bill $400 billion a year. They created in you a dependence on expensive Chinese solar panels, 10,000 real inverters, and factory warranties that expire before they pay for themselves. But in our technical resistance, what they call uncomfortable heat on the roof, we call an electric potential differential. They hid from you that electricity does not need to be manufactured by a power plant. It can be harvested from thermal contrast. Today, in this manual of energy sovereignty, we will open the safe that the industry locked with padlocks of silence in 1923. We will learn to transform your zinc or fiber cement roof into a silent and eternal power plant, using only two common metals and the physics they removed from school textbooks. If you are ready to stop paying to exist and want your home to become an active organism while the world around it goes dark, sign up now. Join this vanguard of self-sufficiency. The Thermal Electroculture Manual is open, and your independence against the system begins now. To master the energy of your roof, you must first understand the physics of contact voltage. In 1821, a physicist named Thomas Seebeck discovered something that energy cartels would have preferred remained forgotten. He joined two distinct metals, copper and bismuth, and noticed that, by heating only one of the junctions with the heat of his own hand, the needle of a compass moved. There was no burning of fuel, no chemical reaction, just the flow of electrons migrating from one metal to another due to the temperature difference. In deep physics, this is what we call passive thermoelectricity. Imagine the electrons inside the metal as a crowd in a room. When you heat one side, that crowd becomes agitated. It seeks space. It flees to the cooler side. That movement, that organized flight of electrons, is, by definition, electric current. They hid from you that in 1902, engineers were already using the Seebeck effect to power entire farms in Europe. Using the contrast between the scorching sun on the roof and the cool shade of the attic. The system was buried not because it failed, but because it worked too well. And what works for free cannot be measured. What cannot be measured cannot be billed. And what cannot be billed does not sustain the industry. This thermal energy cycle is perpetual. As long as the sun shines on your zinc and cool air circulates beneath it, a thermal difference will exist. An invisible engine pushing electrical charge into your batteries. This is not a commercial promise. It is a law of thermodynamics that cannot be patented by any multinational. Step closer to the workbench and observe with the rigor of an apothecary the materials that make up our electric skeleton key. Technical authority demands that you select your metals not by price, but by their electronegativity difference. The first pillar of our construction is pure copper. Seek out gauge 14 cable, the same you find in any neighborhood hardware store. Copper is our elite conductor, the metal that receives electrons with ease, but it alone is useless. For current to flow, we need an antagonist, a metal that holds the electrons with a different force. The second pillar is galvanized iron, fence wire, gauge 16. The zinc coating on the iron is not there just to prevent rust. It creates the necessary interface for the quantum leap of electrons. Avoid at all costs using low-quality aluminum alloys or painted metals. The plastic insulator or the paint are barriers that prevent mineral communion. The purity of metal-to-metal contact is what separates a functional generator from a pile of scrap. Observe carefully the origin of your material. The master of technical resistance uses virgin metals without heavy oxidation at the joining points. For rust is resistance, and resistance is the thief that steals your millivoltage before it reaches the battery. Guard your wire rolls as if they were gold bars. For in truth, in a world without the power grid, they are more valuable than gold itself. Prepare your system with the discipline of a royal armorer forging a breastplate. The effectiveness of your power plant lies not in the thickness of the cable, but in the stratification of the temperature difference. Follow the steps with monastic rigor. Step 1. Creating the thermal pair. Cut 1 meter of copper and 1 meter of iron. Strip the ends and twist them together with the force of a locking pliers. This union, the knot between the two metals, is where the magic happens. It is your hot junction. Step 2. Strategic positioning. Fix this junction directly on the ridge of your roof, where the sun hits with the most violence. Use a metal clamp to ensure the contact is intimate. The roof metal must transfer its heat to our knot. Make your roof the anode of your system. Step 3. Base cooling. Now take the other ends, the separated ends, to the coldest location you can find. It could be inside a PVC pipe buried in moist soil, or under the constant shade of a ventilated eave. This is your cold junction. Remember, the greater the temperature gap between the roof and the shade, the greater the electrical thrust. Step 4. Series connection. A single pair of wires generates only a fraction of a volt, but the master does not despair. He multiplies. Repeat this process 10, 20, 30 times. Connect the copper of one pair to the iron of the next, creating a thermopile. In the end, you will have a positive and a negative cable coming from your roof, delivering a direct current that never shuts off, never bills you, and never fails. Critical error. The amateur allows the cold junctions to heat up. If the shade warms up, the electricity stops flowing. Maintain thermal polarity with the same zeal that a doctor maintains a patient's pulse. Upon completing your energy shield, observe what you have just accomplished. You did not merely build an electrical circuit. You performed an act of climatic sovereignty. In a world where access to light is used as a leash for obedience, you created your own refuge. The result will be silent. While your neighbors watch the clock to save money during peak hours, your LED lights will be on, powered by the heat the sun delivered for free to your roof. You will feel the strength of an energy forged in contrast, an energy that does not depend on satellites, governments, or submarine cables. You will notice a fascinating phenomenon. The peace of mind that comes from knowing your system is eternal. There are no moving parts to break, no silicon cells to degrade over the years. It is metal and physics, in an 1800-year-old dance that survived into oblivion. This is the conclusion of another chapter of our resistance. We mastered capillary water, we sealed the infinite soil, and now we harvest electricity from contrast. You now possess a system that works while you rest, and that grows stronger the more the sun scorches the world outside. But the journey toward absolute self-sufficiency in 2026 demands one final link of sovereignty. Having energy and soil is worthless if you do not know how to store the food you produce without depending on industrial refrigerators that consume everything you generate. Preservation is the battery of life. Therefore, prepare yourselves. In our next resistance gathering, we will enter the forbidden domain of ancestral cryodehydration and geothermal cooling cellars. Keep your roof active, like the very skin of the earth. Keep your copper in contact with the iron, and keep your spirit focused on total independence from any centralized system. Technical resistance is silent. It does not shout, but it is the only engine that drives the gears of true freedom. Until the next chapter of our liberation, stay firm, stay under the shadow of technique, and remain sovereign.